Hi, my name is Trent Alexander, and this is my wife, Dr. Stacy Alexander.
And together with our children, we've written The Balancing Act. It's a great family guide talking about some real life principles on raising your family. Okay, so one of our first lessons in arguing came before Chance got here. We were actually pregnant, and we were buying our first house. We had one house, we were buying the second house, I guess.
Okay.
And we disagreed about the house. You don't remember? Watch, I'm gonna make you remember. And so at 6 o'clock one morning, the phone rings, and it's his grandmother on the phone. And she said, y'all need to stop arguing. Now, mind you, we never told her we were arguing. We never even told his mom. We hadn't told anybody that we were having this huge blowout about buying the house.
Yes.
And his grandmother just started calling every single morning at 6 a.m. The phone would ring, and she would talk to us about arguing. Yes. What did she say?
She would say, y'all don't y'all argue with each other. Don't do that. I've seen that happen to couples, and you're arguing, and if you keep arguing with that baby, y'all gonna put a Hank, H-A-N-K, I think.
No, she said a Hank.
Hank, I thought it was Hank.
It's Hank.
Hank?
Like haunt. Ain't. She pronounced it.
I couldn't.
Okay, think about it.
It caught me so by surprise because I never heard of a Hank, and I didn't know how Hank could be bad. But she kept saying you can put a Hank on that baby, and I said, well, we're okay, Grandma. And she said, no, I mean it. Don't y'all be over there arguing? So I would look at Stacey. I said, my grandmother called, and so you need to get along with me. Y'all need to be over there arguing. I'm teasing. She would say y'all don't need to argue because. But
here's the really odd part about it is that once we solved the problem, she stopped calling. Like, we never talked to her about it. We never even told her what we were arguing about. She never asked. She would talk to us. You know, like she even told me. She said, "Listen, she had been married to your granddaddy for I don't know how many years, and I'm not gonna even tell all the business that she told me. But she said at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm still here. Everything else is gone.
I'm still Miss Alexander.
I'm still Mrs. Alexander. Exactly. And I did take that to heart, right? I did take that to heart. But the miraculous thing was, one, that she started calling spontaneously, and then she stopped calling spontaneously. But we obviously got through it because we're married now.
I think her biggest fear was what happened between my mom and her son, my dad, what might happen to us, and she could see the impact over the years. That never had to happen, and there was nothing they could do at that time to keep that from happening. So her biggest fear was that this might happen in this generation.
Right.
So she just made it a point to call. Love her, just the tiniest little thing, just a sweetie. But she had taken a beat on us, and I'm sure God had put it in her heart. Call this young couple, and you call them every day. And like clockwork, she called.
She did. She called, and I value that. I do. I appreciate that. And so that's one of our first lessons. We were pregnant about arguing. Now, like I said before, we've had some humdingers, right?
But okay, when we say humdingers for us is different from humdingers for everyone else.
You don't know that. Well, just tell them our humdingers.
I'll give you a point of this. Her cousin lived with us for a year or two when we were staying in Grand Prairie, and we would have what we thought were heated discussions. But her cousin would say, even when you guys have your arguments or your disagreements, it's not like the typical arguments and disagreements. Your arguments are like, so let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You said this, and I just want to qualify what I think I heard you say. But Alexander, I don't think you. And so she was used to a volatile curse word exchange, close to we're gonna get at it kind of thing. But that was never us. It was going to be a hot discussion. We're both opinionated, but it never got out of the loop of we're going to attack each other. I'm going to use these demeaning words and these put downs towards you to curse you out, to have a full-blown curse out. And at least I don't remember that.
No, we've never cursed back and forth. I have cursed at you.
Yes.
But
and that's because she has a mouth like a sailor. But that goes with her personality. That's not my personality.
Right, and I don't curse at you all the time. No. So in 24 years, I've probably gotten you
except for last night, but other than that,
5 times, right?
Yes.
At least 5 times.
Yes.
We've got. Okay, so anyway, so when you talk about arguing, right? Just get back to the what we're trying to talk about right now. You can respect each other when you argue, and I think where people get offended is that you disagree with me. Like I run the practice, and when I get cussed out at work, it's not because I've been disrespectful. It's not because I have cursed somebody else. It's not even because I've denied them services. It's because I disagree with them. And that is the most odd thing to me, is that you can't disagree with me. So what we're telling people is that you can disagree, and you can discuss that disagree without getting volatile. You can still respect each other even in your disagreement.
True.
Right? Okay. So then, what else? What argument?
I think for me, of course, my issue. I'll put me out there for you. Wow, I'm exposing myself. I have issues.
Hold on, we ain't gonna have Tyrese. No, I'm just
too soon.
No, sorry.
Too soon.
No support. Whatever.
That's,
what was the hashtag?
I don't know. That's too soon. Tyrese going through some things. But for me, my issue is, in some points,
no sponsorship. That's what it is.
For me, I prefer not to argue. And I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like demanding.
You're wrong.
Yeah, don't demand me. That I don't do well with that. I don't do well with authority. You can't stand over me and deal with me like that. So I recoil from a lot of things. And my initial response is to shut down. I can go through life without you if I feel like I'm enough. Okay, it's a coping skill, not rude. It's a coping skill. But that's the hardest part for me. So sometimes after a discussion or an argument, I have to go away to pray, to let God tell me, you're wrong. You're wrong. And no matter how much I try to go through the loopholes with the Lord, if she hadn't said this, the Lord, I would have said that. Had she not done this, then I would have been justified to be so cold. But he says, no. I made you who you are, the head of the household. You need to handle your wife, your children better. That's on you. So I have to come back and say, okay, you're right. I shouldn't have. Tell me what it is that you want to do or you're trying to achieve, and let me hear it. And that's hard for me as a man to do, but that's what I had to learn to do. And I'm still learning how to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So then for me, it was one thing that got us through a lot, I think, especially in the last 10 to 15 years, was I decided I want to be married more than I want to be right.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And so even if I know in my heart that I'm right, I don't have to argue you down to prove that I'm right. I don't have to do that because I want to be married. At the end of the day, especially raising kids, I think a lot of our conflicts came over how to raise the kids, what to allow them to do, especially as Chance got older. Excuse me, you were more generous with his privileges than I was. Yeah. So I had to remind myself that Chance is going to grow up, he's going to leave the house, and I still want to be married. So I didn't get in those arguments. When Taylor wanted to wear a bikini, I didn't get in that argument because Taylor, whether she get to wear a bikini at 15 or 25, I still want to be married at the end of all of that. Right. So do I want to be married? No, I want to be married more than I want to be right. That was one of the things that I learned. Right. And the other thing was just being very mindful of how my response affected you. Like I didn't want to do anything that would collapse your ability to be vulnerable with me.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense.
So I don't have to elaborate on it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think when you start looking at the heated discussion from the other person's point of view and get outside of your own personal view, what am I trying to achieve out of this? Whether I'm right or wrong, or whether I've gotten into this stagnant point in my life where everything, as a man of the house, everything needs to do this. Once you can break through with that and say, okay, what's the goal? What's the ultimate goal? Number one is to represent God in our marriage. Number two, it's to love her as Christ loved the church. Right. And number three, to raise our kids so that they see a good example of what it's like to be in a good, healthy marriage that has its ebbs and its times.
And that was one thing too that I remember asking you sometime is how do you reconcile what you're thinking or doing with being a Christian?
Yes.
You remember that? And the first time I asked you, I put it totally wrong because I said, what would Pastor Robinson say? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you were so mad. You said, I don't care what Pastor Robinson said.
But I said to her, he don't run this.
Yeah, that was your bottom line.
Yeah, he didn't run this.
But later on, I realized, don't compare yourself to a man.
Yes.
Right. Then I asked, how do you reconcile that with what Christ would want? And sometimes you would even say, I can't. I'm wrong. This is where I am right now. I just can't. And that would give me almost like a flag to say this is just not the time to talk about this.
Yeah.
Right? Just everybody take a break.
Yeah.
Because if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm wrong, why would I argue with you?
Right. Right.
I mean,
and I think for me, in being with Stacia and knowing her volatility, in my opinion, her eagerness to be right, her eagerness to engage, because you are an engager in discussion.
That don't mean I'm volatile.
Well, you can be.
I ain't volatile. No, I'm just saying. Go ahead.
So, prove my point. Hashtag, we can shut it down.
No,
but I had to learn that I'm secure.
In what?
In this marriage, I'm secure with me.
Okay.
Because I've even had buddies come back and say, bruh, you were made for your wife. Because any other man probably wouldn't deal with what she does.
Mm-hmm.
That outspoken, that out there, I'm gonna challenge you, I'm gonna ask you this. And I had to learn early.
But it gets on your nerves.
Oh yes. But I'm good. I'm good with me, and I'm good with who I am in God, in this family. That I never needed to come in and beat my chest and stand over her and show her that. I knew who I was, and I knew what God was doing with me in this family. And so He worked me to say, hey, pause, stay relaxed. I guess I've always been kind of called the calm one in the family, but that took time for me to go. And I would go to God and say, this is your child. She's not hearing me. So help me by you speaking to her heart what I can't get through when it came to arguments.
But when have I ever been wrong?
Here we are again.
I'm just...
The book is called The Balance.
Where can you get it? Where can you get the book?
And I've often thought of her. She never thinks she's wrong. And I thought to myself, she never thinks she's wrong. She's both judge, jury, and executioner. So in her world, everything is like okay. And I'm over here in a storm. So I'm going, boy, I don't know what's wrong.
Babe, just tell me one time that I was wrong. Okay, just tell her about it. Look, it's fine. It's okay if you can't come up with anything. Because I come up with about 15 of when you were wrong.
Please support me.
Yeah.
Please support me.
Okay, I'll tell you. Go get the book at www.alexandersbalancingact.com.
Yes.
Or
you can find our book.
Yes.
On Amazon. We wrote it together with our children. On Amazon, make sure you pick a book up and gift a book to someone else who might have a high-powered wife who never thinks she's wrong. Call me. Hit me on the web. I'll help you through this, brothers. If you got a wife like this, call me up. We can talk.
All right.
Thank you.